Shalom, Kol Loyim La Yahweh Shemiao Shah Bashem Chakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great Muslim who well, peace and salutations to the hopefully elect tabernacle of David. And I just gotta say, man, the propaganda machine is very freaking strong. The mental gymnastics, the mind control, the manipulation, the diversion tactics is super strong when it comes to the West and how they dictate and control the narrative and push out propaganda. And it's always inconvenience of whatever agenda that they got going. So the latest thing that's going on right now is you got Washington. They basically putting it out there that Russia might try to use chemical weapons in an attack on Ukraine. It's been 2 weeks since they've um, invaded Ukraine, and we know that most of what's been put out was all one-sided. From you know the Western mainstream, and most of it is all propaganda. Is sensationalism, and got people thinking one way, which is the objective of their mainstream media is to get the people to think one way. All right, but we know that they don't really have credibility, but they're going to still continue to use their machine, their tools, their tactics. So it's funny how they're throwing this out there, basically putting people on alert that Russia can possibly attack Ukraine with chemical weapons. And this looked very familiar. I mean, I'm pretty sure you all are familiar with what happened in that chemical attack in Syria going back to 2018. All right, you had a chemical attack that was carried out in Duma, and it killed like maybe 40 to 50 people and injured like well over 100. And of course, the West, they pretty much attributed that attack to the Syrian regime, the Syrian army, and the Russians. And when you look at what really happened there, it was another false flag. And this is what they've been known to do. They're going back to the same playbook. So this devil, man, he's showing you in these last days how he truly operates. All right, this is the same serpent going back to the beginning. And what did it say about him? Genesis 3 and verse 1. Slakia, let me just blue letter tripping. Let me try to bring that back up. Genesis 3, dealing with this man's nature. Very crafty, man. Genesis 3, verse 1, it says, Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have the Most High said, You should not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. For the Most High know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And he used charmed and said the right shit to her and beguiled her, and the rest was history. But it is describing the nature of this serpent. Or this man is very cunning. He's very crafty. All right, and that's what this devil does. He uses craft by any means. All right, craft prospers in his hand. Let's get our Psalms 144 and 11, because this is their main strength. Psalms 144 and 11 says, Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. And this is what you see constantly every day on mainstream news. All right. So, I thought it was very interesting that, now this is headlines And this is what they're going to be talking about all throughout the media, that there's a possibility that Russia is going to use chemical weapons to attack Ukraine. But how convenient for them to throw this narrative out and bombard the media with it when it just came out that the Russians actually found out that there's hundreds of biolabs all throughout Ukraine that is actually funded by the US. And this is something that they tried to deny and keep secret until they had to come out and finally admit that they did the research and they gathered the intel that the US had major biolabs developed all throughout Ukraine and could possibly use that research to develop weapons to actually attack them. See, Russia, Putin, he's on his shit, man. So now it's going to be a back and forth, and so when an attack does happen, people going to be, placing the blame on each other, pointing the finger at one another. Well, that's what you call a diversion tactic. All right, you look up diversion or diversion tactic. What is a diversion tactic? A diversionary activity is one intended to attract people's attention away from something which you do not want them to think about, know about, or deal with. And that's what Esau does. When too many people start thinking and finding shit out, Esau's gonna throw out a psyop, a psychological operation to divert your attention from what you're finding out. Because this devil is constantly getting exposed every second. Every single second he's being totally exposed and revealed. And that's according to the scriptures. He can no longer hide himself anymore. So let's listen to the report from Washington, and then I'm gonna play this video right here, and then I want to show you what they did in Syria to show you that they have the power to pull all these tricks and hoaxes and fool the whole world into believing their narrative. See, you gotta, hey man, this devil, he's coming with it, man. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against spiritual wickedness in high places, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. This is what we dealing with, man. So that's why it was said in that epistle, Ephesians the 6th chapter, put on the armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles, the tricks, the methods, the strategies of the devil. All right, because Satan will get an advantage of you, but hey, let's say should get an advantage of us, we're not ignorant of his devices. So let's listen to this clip right here.
There's growing concern that Russia could possibly use chemical or biological weapons in Ukraine.
Would President Biden let a chemical weapons attack in Ukraine go unanswered by the United States?
We have not let anything go unanswered to date, any steps that President Putin has taken to date. What that would look like, I can't give you an assessment of that from here.
There's also growing international outrage over suspected war crimes by Russia, a day after the attack on the maternity and children's hospital in Mariupol killed at least 3, including a child. The director of national intelligence told lawmakers the U.S. is documenting Russia's actions.
The Russian military has begun to loosen its rules of engagement to achieve their military objectives.
All these people that's talking, all these they're all a bunch of devils, man. They all are crooks. And they're in on these psyop, false flags, all this misinformation. They all are in on it, man.
A U.S. official also says Russian forces could still encircle the capital of Kyiv in the next couple of weeks if they're willing to grind through significant Ukrainian resistance. It's estimated up to 6,000 Russian forces have already been killed in action.
President Putin does not have a sustainable endgame in Ukraine right now.
The White House says the president is ready to sign a massive assistance package for Ukraine as soon as it arrives to his desk. The House-passed bill includes $13.6 billion in humanitarian, defense, and economic aid.
Wow, but he won't dish out that same amount of money to help with Americans that's actually suffering. All right, these ridiculous ass gas prices and all this inflation. But guess what? All that money that they coughing up, that's what's contributing to the inflation. All this printing and spending and sending all that money to all these different initiatives outside of their own country. So basically, at the end of the day, you Americans are getting fucked. There goes your president, Sleepy Joe. Let's keep going. Oh, Slakia. And then I heard something today about how the state, I guess the government just forgave the student debt loans. I think $6 billion to forgive 100,000 students. But we know that the overall total student debt is 1.6, 1.7 trillion. So $6 billion, that ain't even a percent of the student loan debt. But they just made sure to throw that out there as a political ploy for Biden, because we know that his approval is plunging. You could, if with all that money you sending over to Ukraine to help them, why not forgive all the debt of all the students? Why just for 100,000 of them? That's because they're losing. Like I said, it's don't be surprised, man, when you see all hell break loose. You know, when these Americans stop being comfortable, when they finally start to really feel it, it's gonna be sedition. You already know that's coming, man. So let's finish this out, and then we're gonna play the other clip.
Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he hopes the Senate will take up the measure as soon as tonight.
The United States and the people around the world are going to continue to support the Ukrainian people, I believe, as they defend their country.
More than 2 million people have now fled Ukraine, many women and children. Vice President Harris and her predecessor, former Vice President Mike Pence, both in Poland today, met with some of the refugees.
Yeah, they getting ready to pull a Syria on Ukraine. Come on, man. You can't make this up. So let's play this one now. Because they didn't start throwing this out there until the information started getting out there that, you know, the U.S. secretly had bio labs or facilities all throughout Ukraine. And because they became privy to that, you know, now they're saying, oh, well, so now that they know, oh, Russia might take over and control it, and then they're going to use those centers, and they're going to carry out a biological attack on the people. So you see how these devils is able to just twist it and turn it around like that? That is straight up psychological manipulation, man. This is all mind control. Because they don't want you to see what they're doing. So let's listen to this now.
Now, the United States has said that it is working with Ukraine to prevent Russia from seizing control of the biological research material in the country, amidst concerns that such items could in fact be used to create bioweapons. And this statement has come after Russia accused the United States of funding biolabs in Ukraine, spending millions of dollars to create bioweapons which could then be deployed. Kremlin has said that the world must know the truth about Ukraine's alleged biowarfare program.
Ни о каком мирном использовании, научных целях во благо мира, развития, конечно, речи не идет. Дело в том, что они финансировались по линии Министерства обороны Соединенных Штатов Америки. Мы исходим из того, что в ближайшее время Министерство обороны Соединенных Штатов Америки, администрация президента США обязаны ознакомить международное сообщество и сделать это официально, а не...
Now, the senior State Department official Victoria Nuland was directly asked by the U.S. lawmakers if Ukraine had any bioweapons. She replied that Ukraine has biological research facilities and that the United States is concerned that the Russian forces want to gain control of them. Nuland further said that the United States was working with Kiev on how to prevent this from happening. Now, Russia has claimed that there are about 30 labs with incriminating documents which allegedly expose America's operation to develop bioweapons, specifically the plague, anthrax and rabbit fever. Conveniently, Russia has also said that no evidence of stockpiles have been found since Ukraine allegedly destroyed the entire stock last month. Now, the Atlantic Council, a think tank in Washington, has said that Moscow was seeking to justify its invasion by pushing a false narrative that Ukraine is developing dirty bombs and biological weapons. No evidence supporting any of these claims have been found so far.
You see what they saying in the comment section. Will be interesting to see what information is found in the biolabs. The U.S. has literally admitted to having biolabs in Ukraine. What do we expect from the most warmongering nation with only something like 16 years of peace in its 250-year history? Source: former President Jimmy Carter, the only country ever to use nuclear bombs on another, and the widespread use of chemical poison. Agent Orange, yep, Vietnam, of civilian population in Vietnam in the Vietnam War. Yes, sir. This is the only country that really had that history like that, man. You know. And then I'll mention Syria. Well, I'm gonna play. They set that up and blamed Assad, the Assad regime. These devils are something else, man. So if there are no biolabs, why is the U.S. saying that the Russians want the biolabs? I'm not a smart man, but come on. That is the reason why Zelensky lowered his tone and claimed he wants to back away from joining NATO. This is definitely will expose the evil games of the U.S. and their dirty works behind the scenes. Hey, the nations are watching. Everybody's paying attention, man. Let's get Obadiah. It is Obadiah 1 verse 2. It says, "Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised." You're becoming more and more despised by the day, just by your tactics, your actions. And people are seeing it. The whole world is seeing it. That's why they're getting ready to raise up against you in battle. All right. You can't keep playing these same tricks over and over on the world. See? Let's get Isaiah 47. Actually, no, let's get Jeremiah 49. It's Jeremiah 49, verse 10. It says, "But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not." And you can't hide it any longer, man. The whole world is seeing. All right. So this is exposing their dirty work, man. This is the reason why you got to protect the interests of Ukraine. You got a lot of stuff going on, and we know that Biden and his son, the crack pipe smoking Hunter Biden, they got a lot of investment over there. Person said, Russia, USA was developing bioweapons in Ukraine. USA, no, we were not. USA, Russia might be able to develop bioweapons in Ukraine after they took over our labs and papers. Exactly. This is what they're doing. And that's straight up a diversion tactic. Whew, man. These devils are something else with it, man, with their craft. And more people are starting to see it, man. All right. So, yeah, this is the reason why America is becoming more and more hated. Oh, man. Yep. So, let's get to the next one. And I'm going to play this real quick. This is leaked footage of the so-called chemical attack in Syria. Now, let's pay attention to this real quick. Come on, man. You can't make this up. Come on, bro. You cannot make this up, bro. The world's a stage for sure. Let me fix my shirt real quick. Y'all go ahead. Damn, a third one. It's ridiculous. I hope they don't strike me for playing this, but this is just too much. This is too much evidence right here, man. So you already know, whenever the government and the mainstream media is telling you, you better believe they're gonna have control over the whole situation, man. All right. What happened with this attack? You already know who attributed the attack to the Assad regime. It was the usual suspects. Babylon, America. You had the UK involved. They was forcing the blame. Turkey, France, and even Israel. You see? So when they get the pointer finger and something get ready to happen, you already know what time it is. All right. So let's get a few more scriptures. I want to get this in Job 15 and 35. And it says, they conceive mischief, meaning they bring forth mischief, and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. All right. Because that's their right hand. Their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. So they got to come up with a narrative. All right. Come with a script. Hire some crisis actors, you know, beef up the footage, and then present it to the world. That's what they do. And that's gonna, I guess, justify them, you know, pumping billions over there to Ukraine. No, this shit is already prepared, man. All this was all set up. All right, when they told you to prepare for the next one, it's all prepared. It was already planned out, man. All right, Micah 2 and 1. And it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. You know, and of course they have the power of the control of information, media, and they coerce and persuade the mentality and the belief of the public. So it's going to get more interesting, man. And we gonna see this all over the news. It's never gonna leave. All right, this is all gonna be their reasoning to, you know, stay occupied over there in their business. And you know, before you know it, it's gonna spiral into war. Right now, we're just in a stage of wars and rumors of wars, but it's gonna spiral, man, for sure. All right. So anyway, you know, y'all get the gist, man. You can't you can't make this up, man. You can never believe these devils. They're very crafty, man. So anyway, we're gonna see, man. I'm gonna end off with that. I'm gonna give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Shai. Shalom.